All right, we're back at Murrieta, stage 2. This is the circuit race. I believe it's going to be 29 miles and 7 laps of the women's 3, 4, 5.
My goal here for the race was to stay with the group as long as I could, hopefully the whole race. I am pretty far back here starting, which is not such a comfortable feeling because I'm not as good at moving around in the Peloton. Did not listen to our friend Holly Gable's advice, who says stay near the front, you avoid the surges, and she made it out to race, which was nice to see her. That I met her last year and she kind of offered me some guidance in my first circuit race, or I think the crit and the circuit. No, can't remember, but it was nice to have her out here.
Yeah, it's crazy. I did this race again, and this year I got completely cracked. Last year I did pretty good. I don't know, lasted like 6 laps, 7 laps or something. We do 9 laps in the men's race, but yeah, this year I was off the back fast. Got caught behind a crash and caught back on, and then I was popped. So I think you did better than I did last year. I mean, this year.
Yeah, I definitely did better than I did last year, and I was able to stay with the group. So here I see Felicia, and I just am going to try to kind of stay behind her because I know that she'll be there at the end, and she's a pretty good wheel to follow. I'm in the race with Carolyn. I think she was a little bit in front of me. I should have kind of been up there with her, hanging on to her wheel. We're going to come into this first corner up here in a second, and I remember just from last year it being pretty sketchy. This year there's definitely a lot of slowing down, but things were more stable than I remember them being last year.
Yeah, this definitely, it's pretty much the only dangerous spot on the course. I mean, the road's a little beat up here and there, but this first left-hand turn is the only spot that's like really technical, really tricky. It's a decreasing radius, I don't know, 90 degree turn, off camber to the right, and it's filled with a bunch of sand, gravel, dirt, like in the corner here. So the only good thing about it is it's slightly uphill. Here it is when you turn left. We had a serious crash in our race in that corner where a young man was knocked unconscious. And I believe last year Felicia had an incident where she ran wide to the outside and kind of, got caught by a bush.
I joked with her after the race that they cut the bushes back so she didn't have to worry about crashing into the bushes this year. So anyway, we all stayed upright. It was definitely not quite as difficult as I remember it being last year. So after the first lap, I turned off my video camera because I thought, okay, this isn't too bad. I should be here and get the last part of the race. And unfortunately, about halfway through, maybe 3.5 laps in, I get dropped. So
Yeah, just to point out too, this part of the course here is a center divider rule or whatever. We have to stay on the right. Everybody had to stay on the right side of the double yellow here. So.
And the official there is coming up and warning people who are even just on the line of staying on. He was pretty aggressive in his warnings, which was good because I remember last year they disqualified. I think it was your race. The entire race was disqualified. So I remember that and
yes.
Was trying to stay on the right side of the yellow line, but anytime anybody touched the line, he was coming up and warning people. And then I believe I heard him announcing numbers into the radio to maybe if he'd already given someone a warning. I don't know if down the road he was going to disqualify people, but I mean, I don't know how many times you'll see him come up, but he was definitely warning people, which I think promotes safety and kind of following the expectations.
Yeah, and that's a very important thing. If they would have done that in our race last year, the whole field probably wouldn't have been disqualified. They did have the official warning people, but they didn't do anything about it when people didn't listen. And if they would have maybe disqualified or kicked out those couple people that were violating repeatedly, we could have avoided all being disqualified. But yeah, anyway, it's a very important also because there's a lot of residential area around this course, and even though it was kind of like a closed circuit, they can't block all of the driveways and things like that, and there were a number of cars on the course this weekend.
And here everyone's slowing and starting to call out, is that a peacock in the road? So here, I think we almost have to stop completely. Oh yeah, you see the peacock in the left of the screen there. And then, I don't know if somebody attacked, but then the pace was just hot, and it was a lot of trying to catch up, a lot of surging. So definitely being towards the back is not where you want to be, because those surges are just so painful for your legs. And as you'll see later, I just don't have it in me to catch up.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that we have to realize when we're out there is that it is a race, and often we're so used to group rides and things like that where everyone's kind of friendly, and just if you're like friendly nature, your nature is to be friendly to begin with, you get caught out in situations like this. Like, people are looking to hurt you, people are looking to inflict a little pain. I don't mean hurt you physically, but they want you to get dropped, they want to ride you off their wheel, they want to attack where they can. And I think that's something that a lot of people have to get used to transitioning to, is racing opposed to riding and being friendly. I have that same issue. I like networking with people and talking, but at the same time, that person kind of doesn't care about all that when you're out there. They want to see you suffering, and they want you off their wheel.
Yeah, it was definitely hard to put in an effort to, I don't know what watts I'm doing here, but it was a lot of effort to, when there were the surges, to try to catch up. So here everyone slowed for the corner, and this is a pretty good little hill right here.
Yeah, this is definitely a leg snapper. I know in our race I was hitting 700 to 1,000 watts almost every time coming up that hill.
Yeah, this hill wasn't quite as bad for me as the little top of after the downhill, and there's that little hill. I was just suffering going up that hill, and here coming downhill, sometimes it didn't seem like everyone was holding their line quite as consistently, but I was able to take a nice rest here and I think recover. Not sure what my heart rate still is a little high, but I'm sure it'll be coming down here, and then we're all back together.
Yeah, and like always, you still have to make some improvements on your drafting. Even when you were recovering on that downhill section, you weren't actually behind anyone, you're just letting the wind hit you. You hit 30 miles per hour, but if you were behind one of the girls closer to a wheel, you'd even go a little faster and save more energy. And it's the same, just like it's been the last couple weeks. Just need to get more comfortable. Look at the girl next to you, how she's almost a bike link in front of you. So you're letting a good 10-12 feet go between you and the rider in front of you, which means you're hitting more wind. It's coming over her back, down the back of her bike, and then right into your face, instead of being a little closer and letting it go over both of you.
Mm-hmm. And I was struggling a little bit here because of just positioning. I know the smoother part of the road is a little bit to the left side, but then kind of the right side, I think I could have moved up a little bit better. So I was just struggling of kind of where to go and where to be.
Well, that's just the thing you'll have to learn about positioning. If you want to be on that smooth spot, you got to get up there, establish your position, and follow that wheel, hold the line. Like right now, you're on the smooth spot, but you're afraid to move in there and get a nice draft. Mm-hmm. You should be right in there in between the two girls here, the Go Fast girl and the girl here in the black kit. Mm-hmm. But you are on the smooth part of the road. You're just letting the wind hit you.
Mm-hmm. So I think this first lap I stayed on this side of the road, and maybe a lap or two later I actually moved up more on the inside. One of the laps, a rider approached me, I think Jules was her name, and introduced herself and said she watched the video. So I didn't get a good look at her because we were riding, so not even sure exactly what she looks like because I was just focused ahead of me, but just nice to have some support from the ladies,
Sam, go!
The ladies out there.
Sam was putting in a little dig there. This is another leg snapper. It's really short. I believe it gets to about 7%, but it's only, less than 100 yards or something, 50 yards. I don't know what it is. But
that's the one that kills me every time. I was just dying, especially when I was out there by myself. I think a few times I almost felt like I came to a near stop towards the top. I was so tired.
Yeah, when you come off of a coast, which is why it's, sometimes it's good to keep your legs spinning, even though you're not doing any watts, just to keep them moving. When you coast for, 30 seconds, almost a minute, sometimes it's hard to get that blood pumping again to do a little leg snapper. So I like to, typically I like to keep my legs spinning while I'm on the downhill, just with the high cadence and kind of flush out the legs a little bit, but keep them open so when I hit the next hill.
So I was able to, it looks like, move up a little bit on the inside here in this lap. The laps all kind of blend together. Don't know what you're doing on which lap. And I felt pretty confident of being able to at least stay with the group because I was able to do it for 3 laps. And then just at some point, I just was not able to.
Yeah, you see Carolyn up there to the left. It's kind of unfortunate right here. I don't know if you guys can hear it on the film, but a girl yells and someone says, "What happened?" And she's like, "Oh, I just got a flat." So one of the girls that was right to Ellen's left, I believe, just got a flat and, ended up having to pull over or pull in. I don't know which one. This little bridge here, there's always an attack there as you come off that slow speed turn. Again, just something to keep in mind. Anytime the pace slows down, if it's a turn or if it's just people not wanting to put in that effort and it bunches up, just know someone is going to attack at that time.
Yes, we can use the whole road. Just be aware of driveways.
Yeah, these corners, when I was by myself, I was actually able to catch the group. Not quite to be with them, but I made up a lot of ground just being able to take those corners at a lot higher speeds. And I had some cheering from some of the volunteers and the workers of Ketchum, and I made up some good ground. And then as we went around the start finish line again, they were gone.
Yeah, and a shout out to all of the volunteers too. We had some pretty good volunteers around this circuit. I saw some guy, you just passed him actually a minute ago, just past the bridge. He was doing glute activation during my race. He had a band that was doing squats and some sumo squats and like some lateral steps, and so he made the best of his time. But this little stretch here too is pretty taxing, believe it or not. Like there's a headwind here and it doesn't seem like anything, it's flat. But yeah, there's a pretty stiff headwind here, and when you turn on this section, it just kind of takes a lot out of your legs.
Yes, a lot was taken out of my legs today. I was really tired.
Yeah, I gotta say though, this is one of the tougher races though. The circuit is not. It's a fun circuit. It's a nice layout. It's nice little rolling hills, but at pace when you're at race pace. Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, it's a pretty tough circuit. It's smart of you too here moving to the left for kind of high speed right hand turn. I think a lot of the ladies are still thinking of center line rule, but once you make the right turn back there on B Street, there's no more center line rule until you get to that. I forgot what street it is. I think it's Adams over there, or past the first session.
Yeah, it was funny. I am calling out at a few different times of, hey, we can use the full road and some different things, trying to remind people, because it seems like even here we just kind of hug the right side.
Yeah, I did the same thing in my race though. Here I cut off the camera thinking I was going to be there till the end, and I wasn't.
I know, I'm so disappointed I didn't keep the camera on to at least get a few laps to analyze some of my, efforts or some of my riding throughout when I was with the whole group, and have people have a chance to see themselves on film instead of the rest of the race that is, me out suffering by myself. Which we didn't put all of it on there to save you guys the heartache.
Yeah, we definitely cut that out. No need for that. So, but yeah, this is the beat up section of the road as well, and Yeah, other than that, I mean, if they redo this road, I mean, it's a beautiful circuit if they redo this section of the road. The rest of it's pretty nice.
Yeah, the bumping was pretty bad. So there, I turn off my camera, and you're catching, the latter part of the race now.
Yeah, we fast forwarded, basically to the end of the race, and or just about the end of the race. But yeah, so when I was in my race, I got caught behind a crash. One of the Go Fast guys had crashed. I shouldn't say one of. There was about 8 to 9 people in that crash, but Ricky from Go Fast had gotten injured, and I think another Go Fast guy was there with them, and they stayed down for a while. So anyway, I caught back on and got popped, so I was off the back as well. After I chased back on, I got dropped again up a hill, and I was riding by myself, and something that's a little, I don't know what to really call it, but it was a little odd. I saw 2 girls at 2 different times while I was riding solo off the back that didn't do a complete lap. And I was kind of hoping that, you're really struggling up this hill now. I was kind of hoping that maybe they quit and went in and just called it a day or something because they were really far off the back. But I don't think they did, because if you see up here, there's those white poles by the house here at the intersection. Well, that's goes back to the main street. I think it's Ivy. And I saw 2 girls at 2 different times turn there instead of going straight and finishing the lap. And they weren't riding together. They were riding separate. They may not have even known the other one turned there or whatever. But I went straight, like Ellen's doing, finished the lap, and then the girls were in front of me again. And I ended up having to pass them a second time. So, I really hope that no one was cheating. I don't know what reason someone would turn on that street opposed to going all the way around the lap and turning here. But, yeah, that's just, I couldn't, I was thinking about it oh, maybe they had a flat or whatever and maybe needed to go, in to change a flat or something or whatever. But no, they didn't look like they had a flat. It could have been a crash, maybe got caught in a crash, but I'm not aware of any crashes in this race. But who knows? But I just know it was 2 different people that I saw. And yeah, I would hope that everyone has, enough integrity and commitment to racing and fairness to the other women in the race to go ahead and complete the entire lap. So yeah, so this is basically the entire lap, and you can tell it takes that would cut a couple minutes off of your time, going around this way. So, like I said, hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully there was a reason why people cut the lap. I just really can't think of a legitimate reason to cut down that street where the bridge is. Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows why somebody would be able to do that and then stay in the race. Send us a comment or something, or send us a message and say, hey, maybe this was the reason or whatever. I don't really know. I was kind of scratching my head on it, and then it made me think how many other people are doing that? How many other people are not finishing the lap when they're out by themselves and just cutting down that side street and cutting almost a whole mile off of the race basically, or half a mile or something. I don't know. It's probably a little more than a half a mile, but yeah, it's just a little troubling. And like I said, hopefully I'm wrong. It could be a legitimate reason behind it. I just can't think of it. But yeah, so this is the second group of the men passing Ellen now, and this is the street I'm talking about that they come out of right here. If they cut the lap, they just come back on this street. So
yeah, so that whole time you were talking would have been cut out.
Correct.
Which is pretty significant. You can talk a lot.
Yeah. I have a pretty decent vocabulary, I guess.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, vocal skills. Woo! No, okay.
Yeah, it was definitely encouraging being out there. Got a lot of support from fans, from the volunteers. I was almost feeling like it was undeserved as I walked my bike back after the finish. People were just saying, great race, almost it felt almost like I won, but I almost didn't feel right accepting their praise and recognition because I was dropped and out there suffering alone. But I think people can relate to not giving up and just finishing. At least that's what I'm thinking. I hope they didn't think I'd had a solo victory or something. I think
I'm pretty sure they know better than that. Yeah. Well,
but I was working real hard. So and then I finish, and you can see.
Well, this ain't you finishing.
Oh, this is a whole nother
No,
lap?
this is not you finishing. No, there's not a whole nother lap. I cut it.
You cut it. Okay.
Yeah, I cut it. But this is you finishing here, just coming into the home straight.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I second what you're saying. You get a lot of support, and this is the whole point of like, there's no reason to ever cut a lap. Like, you're out there competing, you're an athlete, you're giving it your all just like everyone else. And honestly, you get just as much support when you're out here trying and you're in last place as you do when you're in first place. I understand there's a little bit of more fanboys and fangirls going on when you win a race, but there's a lot of respect for anyone that just gets out there and you know, puts themselves out like that to be criticized and to be critiqued. So yeah, this is you finishing though right here, coming into the last turn, I believe.
And I think I'm gonna get passed by the rider who ends up winning. So the men's race. Oh, as I'm coming up to this corner, there's a car on the course and people are yelling at the car. I decided just to stop because I didn't want the car turned in front of me and getting killed on the last lap of
that wouldn't be
a
nice.
race. So I decided just go ahead and stop, and I was still a little skeptical, but here I see them pulled over and I'm able to go by, and I see the solo go fast rider who won the men's cap 4-5. And then I decided to turn around because if he's winning, then I think I can see Anthony finishing. And I think that Anthony finishes in the main group. And then I realized he was lapped. So,
no, I was not.
Good job. Good job, babe.
Definitely was not in the main group. I did get lapped by the Go Fast rider. I forgot his name. But that's a great job. You see him and Pat right there. But yeah, great job.